everybody, happy Sunday. It is the 12th of April. We are on day 102 of the year. How are you feeling this morning? Hopefully you are enjoying some relaxing, quiet yin time on this Sunday morning. It is a cloudy day here in Bulgaria, so a nice slow yin start to my morning here. I've got a couple of things that I'm going to work on in the studio, but otherwise a nice relaxing Sunday ahead. So hopefully wherever you are in the world, you have the same plans and you're going to take some time to relax and rest today. As I said, we are on day 102 of the year, according to 365 Tao by Deng Ming Tao. And day 102, our word for today is awareness. So find a quiet and comfy place where you're not going to be disturbed for the next 15 minutes or so, remembering that 15 minutes is just 1% of your day. Grab your book, grab your journal and something to write with. Be here and now and present. Take a couple of deep breaths to connect with your breath. And remember that when you do a longer exhale than an inhale, you're sending a little message to your brain that it's time to down-regulate and relax. So if you just want to get into a more relaxed state, that's available to you anytime, anywhere. So take a deep breath in with a long exhale out. Open up your book to page 102 and let's start reading together on the subject of awareness. Outer eyes cannot see themselves. The inner eye is its own reflection. When we look, we can see many things, but the eyes cannot see themselves without the help of a mirror. We are not used to introspection. Although followers of Tao say to look within to gain self-awareness, we will be confused if we use the attitudes formed by looking with our eyes. That is why it is important to make a clear distinction early on. Do not try to understand yourself with the attitudes of physical seeing. Look within using inner vision. For centuries, people of many different cultures have referred to the mind's eye or the inner eye or the third eye. I'm sure these are concepts that you've heard of amongst different cultures and different spirituality and different belief systems, but it's usually right here in between your two physical eyes. This zone right here is usually, the mind's eye, the inner eye, or the third eye. These are all indications that there is a separate way of looking within. So we've got the physical eyes, right? But a separate way to look is using this mind's eye, this third eye, and that's the way we can look within, not in the physical sense, but in more of a spiritual sense, as this passage is kind of explaining to us. In meditation, it is important to discover and utilize this mode of introspection. We must go beyond thought, go beyond visualization, go beyond imagination and actually open a part of the mind that most people leave dormant. The inner eye has a location buried deep in the brain. When it is opened, it is our way of receiving more subtle experiences than we receive in our physical states. Perhaps looking and seeing are misleading terms. After all, we don't necessarily see images through the inner eye. We gain direct awareness that is beyond the image. Wow, so this is kind of a lot to take on for a Sunday morning, but it does kind of explain the process of introspection and looking within. And as it says here, when we use the words, see and look, it's not in the physical sense of seeing or looking with our physical eyes. It's something more philosophical, something more spiritual, something about using this third eye, this inside part of your brain that can be accessed through meditation, as it says here, through introspection, through self-discovery, all of the things that we're doing, the self-awareness. It's not a physical thing that you can see like these eyes. It's something more conceptual. And that's kind of what we're trying to access when we're getting into that meditative state. We're trying to go, as it says here, beyond the physical. It's not so much like seeing with your physical eyes, but it's seeing beyond that state. It's beyond the state of intellect. It's going above and beyond that. And that's really what you're trying to access when you reach that higher state of meditation. So this is an interesting way to think about, the two eyes that we have to see in a physical sense, but then the third eye that we have to see in more of an introspective, philosophical sense, if that makes sense. So have a think about that right now. Think about what you see with your eyes. Think about all the beautiful visual things that you get to experience through these eyes. And then perhaps you want to take some time out and sit in contemplative silence. Close your eyes so you don't actually physically see anything, and then concentrate on accessing this point of your brain, this third eye, this meditative state where you can see things about yourself but not in the physical sense. So it's a lot to kind of think about intellectually on a Sunday morning, but that perhaps can be your homework for today if you have a meditation practice. Really try to get into that state that goes beyond seeing with your physical eyes and see things through this eye, through the third eye. And perhaps you want to journal about that as well. So on that note, I wish you a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. Thank you so much for being here for 102 days. And